G'day gang, GameolioDan here, how you going? We are back in the Elder Scrolls Online, in the Greymoor. Let's go and have a chat to Svanna.
Whatever Rada Al-Saran and the Grey Host were planning, I think the worst is behind us as far as Western Skyrim is concerned. With Svargrim dead, their grip on the holds comes to an end.
Are you in charge of Solitude now?
Not officially. At least I don't think so. I feel like the whole world's crumbling around me. But the city's still standing, so that's something. I'm more worried about our friends. We left Lyris and Fen to hold of a horde of Harrow fiends.
I almost forgot about that.
Hopefully they were able to hold the courtyard and keep those monsters out of the city. You go on ahead and check on them. I need to collect myself. Solitude needs Princess Svanna now. And I'm not quite ready to be her.
I'll find Lyris and Fen.
Thank you. Help them and anyone else as best you can. I'll do the same. Once you're done with them, I'll find you and we can figure out what to do next.
Do you think the danger has passed?
Gods, I hope so. Haven't we dealt with enough already? I need to see what happened firsthand. All the suffering and pain my father caused. I can't undo it, but I can make amends. Or at least try to.
Alright, let's go and find Lyris and Fenno. Through the smoke. Over here?
Tell me truthfully, Lyris. How much of this blood is mine?
Not enough to be worried about. So, is it over? What happened to Svargrim? And where's Svanna?
Svargrim's dead and Svanna's fine. But she needed a moment. She asked me to check on you.
A parent's betrayal cuts deeper than a sword. But Svanna's strong. Stronger than she's been given credit for. And Solitude's going to need that strength in the coming days.
Do you think she can handle it?
If you told me the tavern rat we met at the Lonely Troll would become my choice to lead this land, I'd have called you mad. Then again, my king's a skald, so what do I know? Come on, there's probably something productive we should be doing.
What do you have in mind?
Last I heard, Sword Thane Uthlet was gathering everyone he could at the Hall of the Dead. Head over there and see how they weathered the Harrow Storm. I'll take care of securing Castle Dower. As for Fen, you might remind him we need a lot of elixir.
What happened with the horde of Harrow fiends?
We did our best to hold the Harrow fiends inside Castle Dower, but nothing short of stone walls were going to keep those monsters from pushing through. Seemed like everyone I killed was replaced by 2 more.
How'd you stop them?
Almost didn't. We were nearly overrun before Fen went wild. I've never seen him like that, snarling and showing what a true vampire can do. Took the Harrow fiends by surprise and we routed them. I did have to thwack him to clear his head, though.
Finn.
You did it. I shouldn't be surprised. But things were looking rather bleak before the clouds parted.
What happened with the horde of Harrow fiends?
We held the gate as long as we could. The Harrow fiends were a flood of claws and teeth. Once they burst through, Lyris cleaved through them like a scythe through wheat. But even she couldn't stem the tide.
So what happened?
I'm not really sure. I kind of went wild. Let out my inner beast, as it were. I was rending and slashing. Then Lyris whacked me with the flat of her blade. At least that's the last thing I remember. Not my finest hour, but we survived.
So what now?
The Sword Thane gathered people in the Hall of the Dead. Go check on them while I pull myself together. This whole ordeal has been a lot more strenuous than I'm accustomed to. Then I'll get to work on the elixir and a cure for the Herod.
What about the Harrow fiends?
Sadly, I don't think there's any hope for them. Their life energy was sucked dry, turning them into feral beasts. Restoring them is beyond my capabilities, I'm afraid. At least with the Herod, they're not so far gone as to be a lost cause.
And the elixir will protect everyone else?
As soon as we produce enough of it, yes. We saw how it protected Svanna. Now, where did I put my flask?
Fenno. Alright, back over here. Return to solitude, and then to the Hall of the Dead.
Try to skeet out of the deal. Ha! Good to see you aren't raising bugs with Ismir just yet.
We saw the storm break, but we heard nothing since you departed from Blackreach. We seem to have survived, thank the gods. I thought for certain we were all about to witness the end of the world.
It looks like Solitude weathered the storm.
No thanks to Svargrim, damn his eyes. After you and the princess went off to Blackreach, I gathered whoever we could and made our stand here in the Hall of the Dead. I'm just glad we don't have to be permanent residents.
So no major casualties?
Far fewer than I feared when the storm began. Thanks to you and the princess. With the storm over and the Grey host driven from Castle Dower, my soldiers will get the city back into shape. As long as no one else attacks us in the meantime.
I'll leave you to it.
When I first pledged myself to the Blue Palace, I never thought I'd have to defend my city from its own king.
How long had you served Svargrim?
Practically my whole life. I served in his army when he drove the Reach Dogs back from our gates. The wolf chased them halfway over the Druadoc Mountains before he declared the campaign finished. He was a man to be feared and admired.
What changed?
I don't know when the rot in him started. It crept so slow I never noticed it. Not before it was too late. At some point he became more concerned with holding on to his kingdom than the kingdom itself.
I regret we didn't throw a parade to welcome you back, but I'll cheer enough for 100 souls if you tell me you put that backbiter of a High King to the sword. But what of Svanna? Is she?
Svanna's alive? But I can't say the same for the High King.
That's good. But a daughter shouldn't have to kill her own father. Svanna has my support, for whatever that's worth. She's going to need all the help she can get in the days to come.
So Svanna's the queen now?
Not until we hold a moot to support her claim, and we need more than a single Jarl for that to occur. If Svanna proves herself as the acting Jarl, they might look past her father's failings and make her the queen. Eventually.
She's proven capable so far.
They're here! They're at the gates!
The Grey host? I thought we were done with them for now.
Not the Grey host! The Skald King with an army from the east!
What treachery is this?
To the gates. We'll give the Skald King a proper welcome, one way or another. What should I make of this timely visit? Has Yoren finally decided to attack?
No one told me to expect the Skald King.
The work of the she-giant, then. But did she call for him to aid us in our hour of need, or to deliver the killing blow? Let's see what words the poet has for us this time.
Svargrim was right to fear you envoys from the east.
I have no idea what's happening here.
That either makes you a fool, or it makes us fools for trusting you.
Yoren sent us here to help. I don't believe he'd turn on you now.
I'm not in a trusting mood, but I hope you're right. Let's go see what the Skald King wants.
Reachmen from the west, packed from the east, monsters from below. This city's cursed.
Alright, everybody just take it easy. Let's go see what's going on.
Seeking a reliable research assistant with little to no fear of death.
Pleased to see you in solitude, stranger.
Fenra?
Stand down, you idiots! We come in peace.
Partner, could really use your knack for diplomacy right now. Speak to the Skald King before we start a war.
Sure save me from fools and prophets. Will no one properly greet a weary traveler?
Good to see you. Now work your magic before I have to teach these Western Nords some manners.
Did you know the Skald King was coming?
It's as much a surprise to me as anyone. I'll admit my last report was pretty bleak, and I haven't had a chance to send another since we rescued Fen. But I never advised Yoren to march into Solitude.
Why is he here?
His grand gesture is supposed to be a show of support, but Yoren's underestimated how much the Westerners distrust him. Damn bards and their lofty ideas.
So this is the Skald King? He's not the prancy dandy I expected. But if he wants a fight, we will give it to him.
Go on and talk with this eastern loudmouth before there are 2 empty thrones today.
Prince Irnskar.
I know that there's little love between East and West, but now's not the time to be picking a fight.
What are you and the Skull King Yoran doing here?
Lyris's report on the rise of Grey Ghost had my father preparing for the worst. When we hadn't received word for some time, he decided to intercede.
If we hadn't stopped Svargrim, that might have been necessary.
Svargrim. It's hard to believe the rumors were true. I didn't know him well, but I can't understand how anyone could throw away everything for the promise of power. What's immortality worth if there's nothing you hold dear?
Will your father attempt to take Svargrim's place here?
You'd have to ask him. As far as I can tell, the Western holds are in chaos. They could use a king who cares for his fellow Nords, but if the welcome we received here is any indication, Solitude won't see it that way.
I'll speak to King Joran.
Oh, familiar face. Maybe you can talk some sense into these Western milk drinkers. We're not a damn invasion. We're here to help. Do you know what's going on?
The Grey Host was behind the attacks on Western Skyrim. High King Svargrim. We had to kill him.
So the rumors are true? Svargrim joined the Grey Host? I knew he had ambitions, but to throw away his humanity like that, it's inconceivable. Svargrim once told me that he would die before welcoming me to Solitude. I suppose he was right.
The Grey Host caused a lot of damage. These people could use your help.
That's why I sent Lyris here in the first place. I'm not the king of these holds, though. I can't do anything if they refuse my help. Svargrim despised me. He would never accept my aid. But Svanna... here she comes now. Let's see what she has to say.
Whatever you think, King Joran.
We have no need of help that involves welcoming your soldiers within our walls.
My walls, Jarl. My father may have been willing to slap aside the helping hand, but I'm not. Permit me a word with your envoy, Skald King.
It seems Princess Svanna takes after her mother. That bodes well for the people of Solitude.
It's interesting that after every interaction, we've got different...
Now we're finally getting somewhere. Help Svanna clean up this mess as best you can.
different dialogue there.
Thank you. For holding the line, I mean. I'm ready to do what I should have done a long time ago. To do what my father never could. I'll speak with the Skald King. There's one more thing I'd like you to do while I entertain our guests.
What do you need?
We saved Solitude, but our war with the Grey Host is far from over. We need Fen's elixir more than ever. With that, and King Yoren's help, we might just push these monsters back into their grave for good. Check on Fen's progress, please.
Anything else?
That depends on Fen. If there's anything standing in his way, let me know. And I'll do everything in my power to get him what he needs.
I'll speak with Fen.
Fen is with Old Mjolnir at the Mages Guild. When you're finished with him, join me in the courtyard of the Blue Palace. I'm going to hold a moment of remembrance for this city. We all need a moment to mourn what we lost.
What about your guests?
I'm going to invite the Skald King to join us. If the people of Solitude see him bow his head along with the rest of us, they may not care about the divide between the East and the West.
Sounds good.
So we're to bow our heads with the Skald King? Perhaps the poets prepared a dirge.
Clasping arms with Easterners. There's been enough death for one day.
Did the princess say something about an elixir? Windhelm will provide whatever resources are necessary to produce as much of an elixir as possible.
Very good, Skald King.
I should remain with the Skald King. I trust you can handle Svanna's request without me.
Can do. Yeah, like after every interaction, just about. Definitely easy to miss some of that. Alright. To the Mages Guild.
Orcs. If they aren't fighting, they're fighting about fighting.
It's a true story. Let's have a fight about fighting. Bless you. Finn? Where are you, buddy? Oh, he's down below. What was that?
Ingenious. A rare thing to find an elf with the makings of a clever woman.
Despite what my kin might proclaim, it's not all in the blood. Ah, good, you're here. We've made a breakthrough.
I have seen many things in my time, but never could I have predicted I would soon train adepts of the Mages Guild in the arts of my ancestors.
Why is that?
This is an institution of elves. They know nothing of the soul of the world. Here, magic is a thing to be measured and weighed. Mages know. They do not feel.
Why teach them then?
Necessity and a hope they can learn. If we're to brew enough elixir for everyone in the kingdom, it will take all the herb grinders in the holds. Here at least they know how to use a mortar and pestle.
I was just discussing a theory with Mjolnir, and it seems like we're very close to turning this elixir into a true restorative.
Meaning what?
A cure. Singolis's research on the nether root showed me just how it weakens the connection between a body and soul. Thus far I've been able to inure a person to the root, but now I'm certain I can use that knowledge to heal those weakened bonds.
How quickly can you produce this cure?
Well, it is just a theory at this point. There's a lot more testing and experimentation to be done before we can produce a viable antidote. Weeks, optimistically?
Svanna needs your elixir now. She asked me to make sure everything is going smoothly.
I know. We can't simply put things on hold. Mjolnir and I have a batch brewing right now, and materials to keep producing for another day. Ingrid's promised us a steady supply of Arcase oil, but that's not our limiting factor.
What's the problem?
We know enough about Singolis's refinement processes to replicate his methods, but we still need a source of netherroot to do so. Tell Svanna that if she can keep us supplied, we can produce enough elixir for all the holds in a matter of weeks.
Any ideas on where we can get more netherroot?
We can ransack Greyhost's stockpiles, or mount an expedition into Blackreach. Otherwise, it would take decades of work to produce a proper crop. After we get the elixir squared away, we'll turn our attention to curing the Herald.
Did Singalis' notes tell you more about the grey reliquaries and the stone husks?
Indeed. As I surmised, the Grey Reliquaries contained the remains of ancient Greyhost warriors. They served as a connection to the souls trapped in Cold Harbor. Using the energy from the Harrowstorms, the souls were pulled into the stone husks.
And what was the purpose of the stone husks?
I believe the stone husks are incubators of a sort. The physical forms of the Grey Host are reincorporated within the stone vessels, through a mix of Singolis's alchemy and sorcery, and the magic of the Ice Reach witches. When whole, they burst free.
Okay, alright. Sounds like everything is proceeding, mostly as planned. Let's go to the Blue Palace Courtyard.
What?
Listen here. I don't want to be rude or anything, but I just helped save this place. You would be running around like in a babbling sort of mess if it wasn't for me and my friends. And you can sit there staring at me like that all day long. But you know what I did, alright? I don't know what I just saw, but anyway, let's keep going. What was that? Oh, party time, I guess. Oh, everybody's here.
Ina acts like I'm made of glass these days, but I feel stronger than ever. I may have injured my arm, but I can still help Solitude.
How have things been in Dragonbridge?
Better without those Reach bastards crawling through our tunnels like rats. The bridge still stands, thanks to you. And with the strain taken off our operation and the garrison, we're free to help out around here.
That's good, but your arm's still hurting, right?
You've got a habit of saving people in places, don't you? I'm not complaining, of course, merely observing. I've certainly got my work cut out for me here anyway. Doing the only good I know how.
Which is?
Boosting morale, of course. With the mess in Dragonbridge cleaned up, I've been getting my regular shipments again, which means mead, and a lot of it. I may not be much good at rebuilding, but I know how to keep cups flowing.
Yes, you do. Captain?
Looking around Solitude, it puts what happened at Dragonbridge in perspective. I think the Western Holds owe you more than they know.
How is the garrison holding up?
Well enough. They're tired but managing. I think everyone here feels the same. Looks like we could all use a drink. Luckily, Ina's here to help.
Yes, she is. Got some citizens in the back. Hey, buddy.
The only proper thing to do at a memorial service is drinks to the memory of the lost. I'm not sure we have enough stock for all that.
Mog, he never stops, mate. He never stops.
As soon as we heard you were caught up in everything going on in Solitude, Captain Malvok had us set out straight away. You may not sail with us, but you're crew, and we look after our own.
What will you do after all this?
We'll have a proper funeral for our lost crew when we return home. Eventually, we'll refit and continue our work. A little older and wiser, I suppose.
We heard what happened to the city, my friend. After everything you've done for my crew, it seemed only right that we come to offer our help.
What have you and your crew been up to since we last met?
Trying to get things up and running again. We're still searching for a shipwright to make the necessary repairs on the Silver Cormorant, but her sailing days are far from over.
Captain? Phoebe and Claudia. Or Claudina.
As soon as we heard the news, Claudina insisted we come to offer whatever aid we could. Once again, you have proven yourself to be incredibly brave and downright fearless. If there's anything I can do to help, just ask.
What will you and Claudina do next?
Claudina seems intent on going back to Blackreach. After we help the poor people of this place rebuild, we'll head there. Spirits may not have been the culprits of what happened in Dusktown, but that doesn't mean they aren't down there.
The bastards who did this. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to make them pay for it. But we're done chasing ghosts below ground for now. We're here to help however we can.
What will you and Phoebe do after this?
Once we help the people of Solitude get back on their feet, I imagine we'll go back to Blackreach. Though our initial investigation didn't reveal anything supernatural, there is still much to uncover and explore. I do not believe our work here is over.
It isn't. It absolutely isn't. Hey, buddy.
I won't let what happened to Carthwatch happen anywhere else. If the Reachmen think they can take my homeland, I have an axe that will teach them otherwise.
What will you do now?
I must find a new home for my brothers and sisters of Carthwatch. My brother Fenrir spoke to Jarl Redhan. It may be that we settle in Morthal. I think Bjorra would prefer the high walls of Solitude, though. Wherever we go, we'll stick together.
Good to hear. Bjorra?
We've had a long road from Carthwatch to here, but all of us survived the journey unharmed. We are together, thanks to you. Our town may be gone, but thank the gods Solitude didn't suffer a similar fate.
What will become of Carthold?
Our town is lost. I've heard stories of towns left empty and untouched after fire, sickness, or storm. I don't see Carthwatch's fate being any different. As for the Hold, I suspect the Reachmen take control. There's no one left to fight back.
Have you experienced any more visions?
Nothing new, thank the Eight. But the memories of what those witches put in my head still haunts me. What could it mean? The sisters I believed I am descendants of some Reach hero, but I have no interest in that. As far as I care, I am a Nord.
Alright, Bjorn. The Magister here. Hey, Chief!
You have shown yourself to be a true warrior. Not only at Mor Khazgor, but here too. My clan is eager to repay you and help these people. We know they're suffering all too well.
Thanks, Chief. Pickle. Hey, buddy. How's that, little fella?
Solitude's had a rough time of it. Talene and I were planning on heading to Somerset, but I think we could both do some good work here. We can help rebuild and make the city better than it ever was.
What will you do after this?
My thirst for adventure was sated during our time in Lightless Hollow, I assure you. After we help the people here, I fully intend to give Talene a few years of uneventful bliss. Maybe we'll start for Somerset again. Who knows?
Well, you certainly keep busy. I'm sorry for the loss these people have suffered. My husband and I would like to help however we can. It might not be the retirement I envisioned for us, but it's the right thing to do.
What will you do after this?
If I can convince Vigor, I'd like to take him to Somerset. I fear he'll get bored with nothing to do, but perhaps you really did cure him of his appetite for adventuring.
Oh, I don't know. Gwendus.
Nothing like standing in a crowd of Nords who barely survived a brush with vampires to make you miss Ravenwatch Castle, eh?
Will you be staying in Skyrim for a while?
We've been told to hold position and monitor the Grey Host's activities, though I'd wager you've done most of the heavy lifting already. It'll very nearly be a bit of a holiday after everything else that's happened.
Walker, you and Fenorian did well to stop the traitor king. We will make sure no other threats befall the city. We swear it.
What is the Ravenwatch planning?
Rada El Saran is still out there, and eventually he might try something like this again. Solitude may be safe, for now, but wherever he strikes next may not share the same fortune.
I tried to read that book. The covers were too far apart.
Princess here. Citizens. Priest. Hey, Priest Bavian.
After everything I've seen, I can no longer place my faith in Meridia. But I refuse to abandon my friends.
What will happen to Kilgreath Temple?
We will attempt to seal the temple and purge the corruption. If it were up to me, I would leave it in ruins.
Good to hear that voice again. Freywin.
Mother always told me stories of growing up in solitude, but I never expected it to feel like this. All these people, and buildings are so close together. How does anyone live here without feeling trapped?
How are you feeling?
As funny as it is to say, out of place. I spent so long in exile. I'm happy to be home. Mother has been so kind to me, but there is so much I need to mend with her, with my father. But I'm here, thanks to you. We all are, as I hear.
Yep. Citizens. Oh, lady.
My friend, you have done so much for the holds of Western Skyrim. I fear it is a debt that can never be repaid. And bringing Freywin back to us, you will always have my thanks.
How have things been in Morthal?
Freywin's return is a blessing. Some have just taken longer to understand that. Sadly, there are no balms for broken trust.
Praise the divines for sparing Solitude. I have enough souls to mourn today.
Surely the gods sent you to Western Skyrim. May Arcade grant you the strength to strike down every last one of those fiends of the Grey Host.
Yep. Communicated that without even opening those lips at all.
The people appear apprehensive of our presence here, but no one has voiced their dissent. That's reassuring.
A proper having a dirge for Svargrim? I haven't attended one of those since I snuck into Solitude as a young man. Not the most auspicious start to Svanna's rule, but it'll teach her wisdom.
The Skald King welcomed to the Blue Palace with open arms? Svargrim would be spinning in his grave, if he had one.
I'm not the Jarl you need to speak to. The longer you keep Svanna waiting, the more anxious this crowd will get.
But there's so many people we're going to talk to. Haven't seen him in a while.
We're all waiting for Svanna, and she's waiting for you. Go and talk to her.
All right, Lyris. I think we're good. I think we've gone through everybody. There's nobody hiding in the back. Scorp. I'm just going to check this side, and then I'll go talk to Svanna.
I was hoping you'd return before we began. Tell me you've got good news. I'll feel a lot better delivering a speech about healing and hope, knowing that we're on the road to recovery. What did Fen have to say about the elixir?
They're making it as we speak, but he says they'll need more nether roots soon.
Not the best news, but I'll take it. So long as we have enough to protect our soldiers, we have a fighting chance against the Grey Host. I'll go to the Undergrove myself, if that's what it takes.
Fen also believes he can make a cure for the Harrowed.
Now that would be cause for celebration. If he can really bring back even a fraction of those we lost to the Harrowstorms, I'm willing to try. That's all I needed to hear. We should begin the ceremony before the crowd grows more restless.
What do you have planned?
Nothing fancy. Just a traditional Nord wake. To mourn and celebrate those we've lost, and cherish the lives we still have. I'd like you to join us.
Very well.
None of us would be here to sing dirges for the dead or celebrate the living if not for you. I certainly wouldn't be here, ready to lead my hold. You've supported me since I started down this path. I'm honored to have you here at the end.
The Sword of Solitude and the Wolf Crown of Solitude. Solitude's silver wolf dominates this replica of the crown worn by High King Svargrim, making it perfect for those who wish to look both regal and fierce. Legends claim the crimson elements represent the blood shed in defense of hearth and kin.
Sons and daughters of Skyrim, we have the honor today of remembering the dead.
Honor to the fallen.
Sons and daughters of Skyrim, our trials were fierce, but we are still here.
We stand and we remain.
Now, we raise our voices to tell Sovngarde of the coming of the worthy dead, and to tell the world that the Nords are still here. We are still standing!
The fallen now march home to hallowed halls, to join our ancestors in boundless drink and song and brawls. Let sound the horns, let peal the bells, let loose the ancient hymn. We will remain until time ends, we children of Skyrim.
I can't think of a more fitting send-off for my father than Nords of both kingdoms mourning side by side. Skyrim may be divided, but at least our honored dead are united in Sovngarde.
What are your plans going forward?
Jorun, Redharn, and I need to form a plan to distribute Fen's elixir and push back against the Grey Host. And acquire more netherroot, it seems. There's a lot to be done, but I'm surrounded by good people. I trust we'll get through this together.
Anything I can help with?
I can't leave everything to you, you know. Well, I probably could. but even Greymoor took a rest now and again. Let us shoulder the burden for a while. I'm sure I'll need to call on you again soon enough.
Will you take over as High Queen?
I don't know. It's not important, not right now. What matters is rallying the people against the enemy, our real enemy. If that means seeking the crown, then I'll do what needs to be done.
Do you think Sfargrim passed on to Sovngarde?
Sovngarde is a place for the honored dead. Sfargrim gave up his seat in the Hall of Valor when he made his pact with the Ashen Lord. Wherever he is, I hope he regrets how he got there.
Okay.
I'm glad to be done with this. Diplomacy and investigation aren't my favorite pastimes. They seem to suit you, though. You stepped up to the task better than I could have hoped.
Will you be leaving Western Skyrim now?
I'll be staying so long as Joran's here. Or until I can persuade him to send me after Rada al-Saran. That leech owes a lot of blood to us, and I intend to squeeze it out of him. We have to find him first.
Do you have any leads?
Whatever his plans were after sacking Solitude, we haven't uncovered them. With any luck, the Skald King will send me on a raid of the Grey Host, and I can beat some answers out of a few of them.
Let me know if you do.
Count on it.
We made it through, if barely. When the clouds began to gather over Castle Dower, I feared I'd have to witness... Thank you for stopping it. I don't know that my heart could bear another Carthwatch.
What will become of Carthwatch now?
The rest of Carthold fared as poorly as its capital. The hold has been laid to waste, its people dead or scattered. With so few left to rebuild and resettle, I fear the Reachmen will come to claim it long before the Nords set roots there again.
What will you do then?
I have already pledged myself to Svanna. I will serve as her court mage. I hope to counsel her better than I did Jarl Ulfwen. For now, I've used my status in the Mages Guild to solicit their aid in producing the Harrowstorm elixir.
I could not have said it better myself. Princess Svanna will make a fine ruler.
You'll support her then?
Of course. Some may choose to blame her for her father's misdeeds, but I will seek forgiveness from them. There have been enough divisions of blood and feuding. It is a new day. This is a time to mend rifts and forge new bonds.
Okay, Professor X.
I hadn't had a moment to honor the fallen of Morthal since you came to my doorstep. Kind willing, they made their passage to Sovngarde.
Will you be returning to Morthal?
When things are settled here, Hjalmart has weathered these storms better than Hafingar and Carthol. If we can keep the kingdom from complete collapse, it's worth a few weeks away from my home and hearth.
Princess Jarl Svanna reminds me more of the Queen every passing moment. We're in good hands, I think.
Will you serve her as you did Sfargrim?
I'll pledge myself to her, if she'll have me. I was fool enough to follow Sfargrim as long as I did, so it's more than I deserve.
He had many fooled.
He did, but I was by his side day in and day out. If anyone should have seen what he was becoming and put a stop to it, it was me. I owe a lot to Solitude for my failure. If Svanna allows me to repay it, I'll be glad.
In their own way, the people of Western Skyrim are as strong as the Nords of the East. Even after so much suffering, they still stand against the howling wind. We shall do everything within our power to help them recover.
Do you think Svanna's ready to rule Western Skyrim?
Blood alone does not make one worthy to rule a hold, let alone an entire kingdom. The princess will lead for now, but many questions must be answered before the Jarls crown a new ruler of Solitude. That's what a moot is for.
What are you going to do now, King Joran?
If Princess Svanna agrees, I want to bring more of my people from Eastmarch to help restore Solitude and the Western Holds. My retinue is too small to deal with everything. We need more hands.
Will the people of Western Skyrim accept help from the Eastmarch?
All I can do is to offer my aid in good faith. Whether they decide To grab my hand or to slap it away, that's up to them. Despite our differences, I love this land. It's as much Skyrim as my beloved Eastern holds. I would not see it suffer.
Do you think Eastern and Western Skyrim might reconcile?
Today, no, the time isn't right. As for the future, who can say? Svargrim was never interested in finding a path to reconciliation. Princess Svanna isn't a father, that much is clear. So I suppose I can hope.
My heart goes out to these people. We are no strangers to conflict back east, but none of our holds have been ravaged by the kind of devastation brought by the Grey Host. We are fortunate that you stopped them.
Svanna was impressive. She really stepped up when her kingdom needed her.
So I've heard. The princess has come a long way from the girl I met so long ago. And I've changed as well. I'm not quite as obnoxious and close-minded as I was when my father first formed the Ebonheart Pact. At least I try not to be.
Do you think there can finally be peace between Eastern and Western Skyrim?
If the princess remains in charge of the Western holds, I think the chances of true reconciliation are good. My father will certainly do everything he can to make that happen. And so will I. Princess Svanna, she's become a very impressive woman.
Alright, Prince, take it easy, buddy.
Well, you certainly keep busy. I'm sorry for the loss these people have suffered. My husband and I...
Alright, so I think the rest will say all the rest, the same things? Yep, okay. Well, I guess that is that. Elder Scrolls Online Greymoor completed. We will now have to wait for whatever comes next, the next chapter of the Dark Heart of Skyrim, and then return at that point. Hope you've enjoyed the series, and I will guess I'll just see you in the next one.